All right, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, and today I am back with another video here. And the Flyers finally break the 10-game losing streak, and they get a win, 3-1 over the New York Islanders at home. The start of a 5-game, very tough homestand. Next couple of games, like I talked about on the podcast on Sunday, you have the Islanders tonight. You have New Jersey. You have Tampa Bay. You have Colorado. You have Washington, and it's not in that order, but it's very tough. And if you're looking at this game for the Flyers, a lot of good things, honestly. I mean, gave up the first goal again, but you were able to get another one back after that. As for the lines in this game, Bellows with Frost and Tippett, Noah Cates with McEwen, and Lawton. Farabee with Sedlak and Hayes, Delorier with Lazinski and Willman, Provorov and Ristolainen, no D'Angelo in this one, Sanheim and Braun, Zamula and Sealer, Carter Hart's no D'Angelo, Lawton comes back. Very good news for the Flyers. And again, you know, the last game against New York had a lot of stuff like off the hop. Like there was a lot of and it was just kind of a boring kind of play. But as that game went on, and the Islanders ended up winning that one, it was very chippy towards the end of it. 2 fights in the first 10 seconds. McEwen and Martin, Delorier and Johnson, they both go. And after that, the Flyers, they had a couple looks at the net, some couple plays, but they take 2 penalties here. And the first penalty I didn't really love, but it's also a play where it's like Bellows doesn't have to make, so they call Bellows for a slash. And then Risto takes a penalty. Well, the Ristolainen penalty is a penalty that it doesn't need to happen. It's a very unforced, or I should say, it's a play that doesn't really have to be made. It's a bad penalty at a bad time. It's just a useless type of play to make. And they score. Islanders' power play's been red hot. Dobson scores on a bullet of a one-timer. Just a stupid penalty for Ristolainen. But the Flyers do get one back. They get one on shorthanded, like I mentioned earlier. Sanheim scores on a 3-on-2, 3-on-1 kind of rush. Weird goal. It was a pass from Cates, deflected off a stick. Sanheim just went up and got it. And I guess Sanheim watched that video I made because, I talked about Sanheim yesterday. I wanted him to kind of get more into the play and jump into the offense. And yeah, it is shorthanded, but you'd like to see that. And D'Angelo's done that sometimes. He's gotten caught, and I like that. I like that, willingness to kind of get into the play. And Sanheim's always been good at that. So it was good to see him get that and get rewarded. And the Flyers needed it. Flyers had a really good period, I thought, after that. And a good shift by the third line. Lawton had a shot. McEwen had a chance in tight on the rebound. Kind of sat there for a second. Hayes gets a goal here, make it 2-1. Shot off the faceoff. Sedlak with that little kick pass. I'm not sure how long you guys watch and have watched the Flyers, but a couple years ago, in the 2019-20 season, there's a play, and it was in Washington where Derek Grant had that kick pass over to Kevin Hayes in front. The Flyers ended up winning that game, I think 5-2. It was on the road. It was a really, really nice game, and Derek Grant had a beautiful little kind of kick soccer pass over to Hayes in front there to give the Flyers lead in that game. And similar tonight, Sedlak off the draw, that little kind of sweeping kick pass, and ended up being 2-1. Morgan Frost had a beautiful play here. Stick lift on Barzal. Then he was high stick, so good defensive play, draws a penalty. 3-on-2 rush for Barzal and Wahlstrom, and the Flyers did a good job defending it, and they drew a penalty. So after that, Flyers get a power play for 2 minutes. They had a lot of looks at the net late on it. It wasn't really anything crazy from the first unit. Hayes, then they set up for Farabee a couple times, who I thought had a quietly really good game tonight. Joel Farabee, I thought he was really good, just making those quick little subtle little plays, getting those passes off. He's got some good chemistry with Sedlak, and he's had good chemistry with Hayes. But end of the first period, Flyers, pretty good job. This period was more for the Islanders. Flyers had a couple chances, 4-on-4. There was a scrum at the end of the first, so that carries over. Hayes breakaway just missed, and then Hayes had a chance for Provorov and tight, so it could have been 3-1. Probably one of the few Flyers legit chances in this period. Islanders really picked it up, and I thought the biggest thing was just the Islanders just got pucks in. It wasn't anything that the Flyers weren't doing. I thought the Flyers actually did a good job defending it. Hart was also very good. and kept the game 2-1 up until that point. The Islanders hit a post for, I believe it was Mayfield off the rush, but outside of that, it was more Islanders. As the period went on, the Flyers, with around 5 minutes left, they kind of woke up a little bit, and it just seemed like they didn't have as much mojo. And when that happens, and we've seen that happen with this team, where they've had mojo for a period or two, and then it's gone away. This was probably one of their more complete games from in a while, honestly. Complete game also was the first game of the season in the home opener, but in a long time. And this has been one of their more complete games of the season, and obviously John Tortorella mentioned that in post game as well. I thought the Flyers just did a good job in general, though, of just clogging the middle for the most part of the period. The Islanders will get a power play. Flyers did kill that one off. Lawton had a chance for Willman right off the rush. It was a hook on Willman. Again, that's just another ticky-tack type of call. I didn't really like that one either. I wasn't huge on the one with Bellows, but they're going to call that slash on the hand just about every time. Again, more Islanders in that period. Then the Flyers started to get their chances. Cates had a chance off the rush. Delorier had a chance in tight. Then the Flyers get a power play. Before that, Frost made a really nice move inside, outside, a little like John Tavares, like a windmill, quick shot off the rush. Again, that power play for the Flyers was an interference call on Pelech. So Sedlak had a chance in tight. Provorov's shot was blocked. Outside of that power play carries over. Not a bad period. Bent, didn't break. Still up 2-1. And I thought the Flyers had a great third period. Shut it down. Didn't give the Islanders really much of anything. Had good positioning. Hart made the saves when he needed to. And the Flyers just, they kept doing what they were doing in the first period. Getting bucks in, forechecking, creating kind of havoc. Getting shots through from the point. And again, you don't have D'Angelo, and I thought Zamula kind of stepped in and played well in that role. I thought he made a couple good plays tonight, and overall, that's what you want to see. I mean, that's a good win for this Flyers team. It really is. I mean, as much as everybody wants to talk about the draft and everything else, that's a good win for this team. I mean, they needed it, and it wasn't going to come from anybody else. And you get Lawton back. Unfortunately, you lose D'Angelo, so it's always kind of been a lose-lose, but. Again, I thought they had a really good shutdown third period. Bellows had to hit the post. Sedlak had a nice chance. It could have been 3-1 really early on, and they had a 2-on-1. They had a couple posts, in the second as well. So the game really could have opened up. And again, look, they're not going to be perfect games, but this was one of their more complete games of the year, and it was good to get back in the win column. I mean, you saw at the end of the game McEwen putting his hands up, yes, finally. Because they needed that. They needed a win like this, and it was definitely good to see. And the last game against the Islanders in that first period, they went over 10 minutes without a shot. That happened again tonight with around 5 minutes or so left when the Islanders got that power play off tip of Ty Stick. Their last shot was at 16:13 of the period. So that was around, 10, 15 minutes or so, around that range. And that was something that the Flyers have been doing well the past two games. Has been limiting chances. I know that the last game ended up being a loss, but against the Islanders on the road. But for most of that game, they limited a lot of their chances. They didn't give them any shots. Similar tonight, Hart was good, but outside of the second period, Islanders didn't have anything really too crazy towards the net. And the Flyers' penalty kill was pretty good tonight as well. So overall, a good game for the Flyers, a nice win. Let me know your guys' thoughts below. Podcast coming up this week. Stay tuned for that announcement. As for the Joel Farabee raffle tickets, you can get those as well. Message me if you want to purchase one of those. And I will talk to you all again soon.